Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be healed. I brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
For Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Today we're going to talk about the Alabama Fair Housing Agency, and we're going to talk with Enrique Lang. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Before we get started, I want us to all give our prayers and thoughts out to the folks that's out there in Las Vegas that's suffering really bad, and also don't forget these folks in Puerto Rico, and we seem to have forgotten that a big storm hit Texas and Florida, and they're still hurting down there too. So we got some needs out there, and we need you to keep these people in your prayers, and especially the folks in Las Vegas. As we're doing the show today, that's only a day old, and 59 people, families have been affected by a loss of their life, plus over 500 more wounded and hurting, and that whole city and this whole country is hurting as a result of it. So please keep that in your prayers. And we're going to talk today with Enrique Lang. He's the executive officer of the Fair Housing Agency of Alabama. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Ken.
And I say welcome back because you were here before.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
But there's some folks out there watching today didn't see you, so they don't know what we're talking about. And you got something special you want to talk about.
Absolutely. But before I do that, Ken, I want to say to you that I'm really proud of what I recently found out that you have accomplished. I was in Anniston, Alabama a few days ago, and there's a wonderful park for veterans, and there's a street named after you. And I am so proud to see that, and I want to personally tell you that on behalf of myself and many other veterans, and I'm a Marine Corps Vietnam combat veteran, right. And to see that park and to see your name on that street sign made me very proud to know you.
Well,
I want to tell you how much we all appreciate you for what you did to establish that park on behalf of veterans.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. When they told me they were going to do it, I wondered if they've been talking about doctors, because that normally happens after you did.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yes, I'm very honored to have it, especially by the park that I put 25 years of my life into.
Yeah.
And like what you're doing and others do, if people out there ever get anything out of me, is one person can make a difference.
This is true.
They just don't let nobody tell them they can't do it.
That's true.
They'll tell you, but don't let that be the thing that molds you.
Yeah. Well, you made a difference, Ken, and I just wish all Earth could see what you have established there.
I appreciate that.
Very proud of it.
Now let's get back to the fair housing. Tell me, the audience out here, what this is all about. This is the Alabama. This is not the national.
No. We're the Fair Housing Agency of Alabama. We're located in Mobile, but Ken, we have a statewide service delivery area. Our programs basically consist of compliance and education, and what we're involved in is basically any and everything that has to do with housing, other than finding somebody a house. We get involved with tenant landlord issues, mortgage lending, everything that has to do with housing. In addition to that, we respond to national catastrophes such as hurricanes, the BP oil spill disaster, and provide temporary housing for victims who become homeless as a result of those situations. And the third component of our activities has to do with providing residents of Alabama with basic essential information that will improve their economic viability. And we do that through three components. We show them how to improve their credit and how to increase their personal assets and financial options.
You said something about mortgage and things like that. Does your agency get involved when like somebody's taking advantage of, like I'll just use this, I don't mind saying,
Sure.
Countrywide. Remember all that stuff?
Absolutely.
Everybody
Yes,
could get a house
absolutely.
even if they couldn't afford it.
Right, right.
Do you get involved in that kind of?
When we receive complaints of that nature, we definitely get involved with investigating the complaint to see if it has validity. And if it does, then we will sit down with all parties and mediate a resolution to it.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people will sell you a home, and you got a equipment malfunction there. They'll sell you a home even if you can't afford to pay for it. And even though you got it legally, you can't make the payments. You get in trouble like that, and your credit's ruined and all that stuff. So
Well, that has changed now. Some of the agreements have been modified, Ken, so that people who actually are eligible for purchasing a home can purchase it. And those persons that it's just obviously these people cannot purchase a home, the banks and lending institutions are not providing them with mortgages. So it's changed quite a bit since that.
the great American dream, everybody can't have it though, but just because they can do it. Because I hear these pawn your car and all that kind of stuff. That's payday mortgage is what I'm trying to think of. And man, people out there will take advantage.
Absolutely.
And it's good to know that there's somebody out there can intervene and help them.
This is true.
Because the poor people are the ones that can't afford to.
Absolutely.
to
And
get
that's who's being preyed upon now.
that. You got an idea. Well, wait a minute. I got a lot of insurance, and home and car, and Allstate. How's Allstate? Is this the same Allstate hooked up with you?
Right. We partnership with Allstate Foundation out of Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Allstate Foundation, and they pretty much are involved with the issues of providing financial literacy education relative to domestic violence. And part of our programs, we address that issue in regards to providing educational resources and technologies that help people to improve their economic viability. And when it comes to victims of domestic violence, this helps them to not have to return to their abusers for economic reasons.
Oh, I was going to ask you how you connect those two.
Absolutely.
But especially a spouse and a husband in a bad situation. And she's there or he's there because of the economic.
Right, absolutely.
So
and this way we show them how to become independent of that abuser so that they don't have to return to that situation just because of financial dependence.
So in other words, the short term of that, you save people's lives.
Right, and help them to become more financially independent of their abusers. And believe me, Ken, one thing that's really surprising is the high rate of domestic violence victims here in Alabama, and people would be shocked at that number. And it continues
well, as you was
to
out in the
increase.
green room, the lady that left there, that's what she was there for, second chance, and they were doing the show here right before we got here. So you're so right. It is something that. And when I said you save lives, the law enforcement I have on here will quickly tell you.
Yes.
That some of their most dangerous situations are domestic violence situations.
This is true.
Because you got those temporary.
That's right.
And people are not thinking. How does your agency, how do they fund you?
Yeah, we're funded through several different sources, Ken, and one of them is the Allstate Foundation and other foundations throughout the United States, corporations, banks. We're definitely supported by BBVA Compass Bank, the Walmart stores, Wells Fargo foundations. Normally, our monies come through those particular enterprises as opposed to government funding. Right.
Well, that's good to know. We're going to have to go to a commercial here and pay our bills talking about funding, but we'll come back. We got a lot more to talk about. So get you a pen. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues, and we're talking with Enrique Lane. I want to say I get that because of Enrique Lane, and he's with the Alabama Fair Housing Agency, and we were talking about the funding, how it's done, but there's something coming up that we want to talk about today on October the 10th, and we're real close to that. Today's like the 3rd, I think it is, that we're doing a show. So tell me about that. What's coming up?
Ken, on a week from today, actually, on the 10th of October, organization in partnership with the Allstate Foundation and BBVA Compass are sponsoring a community economic empowerment financial literacy symposium.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah. And we're going to sponsor this at the Public Library of Anniston, Calhoun County, located at 108 East 10th Street in Anniston. And it's going to be on the second floor in the Ayers building, and they have accessibility for disabled people to get to that second floor.
Okay, that's the old Anniston Star building?
No, it's the public library.
Oh, okay, the library.
Right.
I got you.
The Public Library of Anniston in Calhoun County,
Got
right
you.
there on 108 10th Street.
Right.
And it's going to be next Tuesday, which is the 10th of October, from 11 o'clock a.m. until 1:30 p.m. And we're going to provide the information and the resources and the technologies, Ken, to the attendees that will help them to be able to improve their own credit reports, increase their financial options, increase their personal assets. And the staff from the BBVA campus will be there along with some of their representatives to help people to buy a house. In other words, there are many different programs now which assist people in purchasing a home, whereas in the past, these programs didn't exist. And we're very, very happy because we really promote home ownership as opposed to renting because of all the benefits, both financially and economically. And the event is going to be free to the public. We're going to have lots of food and drink for everybody.
I'll be there.
So, so we really would like for the public to come. And also, Ken, when it comes to veterans, we really, really hope that the veterans can come as well, because there are new programs now that benefit us as veterans, whereas we can use our
Absolutely.
GI program and our GI Bill to purchase a house. And to provide them with that type of information, they're going to find it to be very, very beneficial.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is the thing that I'm thinking about is you've got people who in Anniston and are around the community. You may be living in a apartment complex or something, and they're tearing down some apartments in the city of Anniston. And people are looking to buy a home. This is the way you.
Yes.
And you said something about building up your credit score.
Right. What we show people is instead of paying people or organizations to improve your credit, you can do it yourself.
Right.
And we show them how to do it. It's nothing complicated. And not only will it improve their credit, it'll also improve their economic viability, because just about everything nowadays is based on credit. And they'll find it's something that they can do themselves to improve their credit rather than going to pay an organization or pay somebody else to do it for them.
I was coming back from Montgomery yesterday, and I received how they got my phone number. I don't know. It was a mortgage type company, and wanted to talk to me about refinancing my home. And I'm driving on Highway 21. I'm a little bit bored, so I'm going to play them out. And I know you're coming on the show.
Of course.
And it was about a veteran getting a VA loan. And they started talking about an ERLA or something, some kind of a VA loan I'd never heard of, something new. And I said, well, I'm going to hear you out. And it turns out if they're telling the truth, you know, I could lower my mortgage rates big time by going with this new VA loan thing. So I listened to them for a long time up there. But they said ask me about my credit score. Do you happen to know what your credit score is? I said, well, that would be real good and everything. So he said, you give me permission to check it. And I'm riding up the road.
Right.
And he come back, and it's my credit score is real good. It's way up there. And but I got some advantage out of that. But when you were talking about helping people with their credit score, like it is, I didn't use a company to get my score up there.
Right.
But many years ago, I was bankrupt. Many years. But I got myself back, and they just told me I got a good, and I've always had for the last 30 years, I've had a good credit score, but I got myself there.
Right.
And it's not very complicated, but you've got to.
You can do it yourself. You can actually do it yourself, Ken, instead of paying.
So that's on the 10th. They come up there and no cost, plenty of food to eat, and you're going to have people saying, dealing with them individually, or are you going to talk to the whole group to start with?
It's whatever you choose to do, because the whole group is going to be there, Ken, but there'll be representatives from our agency and from BBVA Compass, and also from the one of the All-State insurance persons there to provide information and to answer questions in regards to all state insurance and insurance for houses and this sort of thing, and automobile. So that's like a little extra feature in regards to the symposium, but it's going to be beneficial all the way around to all persons. So.
Well, that Allstate, I don't mind saying that's been my insurance for 30 years, my home and my car.
Excellent. Excellent.
And I had a question here. I'd
Sure.
made myself a note,
Please.
and one of my questions is the symposium. It's kind of like they have these work fairs, and they have these. We have it with the veterans thing. Are you going to have just some parts there for somebody to address the veteran issues regarding the housing?
Yes. I'll in regards to purchasing a house and housing programs, the bank, BBVA Compass, will be there with personnel to address those issues, because that's what they do. They provide mortgage lending, and they're very familiar with all the updates in regards to veteran programs and veteran home buying. So yes, to answer your question, Ken, people will be there to respond to that.
You know who I hope shows up
Who?
is the spouses that are sitting here and their husband is deployed,
Absolutely.
and they're 25, 26-year-old.
Yeah.
And they're going to come back and they're going to start paying these $700-800 a month rent
Yeah.
and rent and
And-
rent,
and-
then they could be using that for their home, their home.
Yeah, and research has shown, Ken, that by far most cases, what people are paying in rent is much higher than what they would be paying in a mortgage note, much higher. So we really promote them to look at very seriously buying a house, and they would be surprised at how they would be eligible for it now, whereas in the past they probably wouldn't be.
Imagine a GI going over Afghanistan that been living payday to payday,
Absolutely.
and he comes back and finds out that his wife, through her management and listening to what y'all said, has brought that credit score up there that they can go down and get them a home.
And buy them a home.
What a
Absolutely.
gift that she's giving that husband
Sure
by
is.
doing that.
Yeah.
So I
And-
hope that seriously, I hope that the spouses
Yeah.
pay attention and
Absolutely.
just show up and ask questions.
Absolutely.
How can I get I'm going to give my husband a gift when he comes back. I'm going to have a high credit rating
Absolutely.
so we can get out of this
Yes.
rental.
Indeed.
Get us something that belongs
Indeed.
to us.
Indeed.
That'd be a great gift, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What and you said something about the areas. Now you're up here. You're going to be this thing in Anniston. But what areas of Alabama do you cover? Is it just regional?
What we do, Ken, on a monthly basis is that because we're statewide, even though we're based in Mobile, Alabama, we're statewide. Twice a month in a different city throughout Alabama, we provide these symposiums. So we try to cover as much of Alabama that has not been exposed to this information as possible. And normally this is a new or different city throughout the state every month that we provide these symposiums.
Yeah. So we got your information on the thing. We got about 30 seconds. I need to know if
Okay.
I've left off anything that.
All right.
Did I leave off something that you need
I
to
don't
know?
think so,
Well,
Ken.
that's
Just to let you know again, and for the
October
public to know.
10th.
Yeah.
it starts at what time?
October the 10th at the Public Library in Anniston.
What time?
It starts at 11 o'clock a.m. and it goes until 1:30. And we have free food and drinks, and it's free to the public, and we ask everybody to come.
There you go.
All right.
I'll try to drop up there. I know.
I'm gonna look forward to you, Ken.
And I'd like to hear what you got because I can use it
All
on the
right.
show. Appreciate you coming and doing the show today. And
Thank you.
you're driving so far. He drove all the way from Mobile, Alabama, up here, and this is so you folks pay attention. We'll see you right back here in just a minute. Got news that you can use. Stay where you are. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. This is news that you can use, and I hope there's some here that you can. I appreciate Mr. Lane coming in here doing the show today and about the Alabama Fair Housing Agency, October the 10th, from 11 a.m. Be up there at the library now. So we, I want to remind you about some things that that in the news you can use, and I think we probably just want to go back to one. The VA hotline is the phone number I want you to write down. That's what until you get a pen. The 855-948-2311. 855-948-2311. Now that's the hotline at the White House that they set up just for veterans, and it does work. A lot of people call it. It's also, if you know somebody that's going to harm themselves or others, suicide hotline. That's a good number there too. That's not the suicide hotline, but you can use it for that purpose. It's all things veterans at that number that they set up there. this Veterans Day is November the 11th at 11 a.m. up here in Centennial Memorial Park. We have great music, as we always do, and then shortly after the ceremony at 2 p.m., we'll have the Veterans Day Parade down Noble Street there in Anniston. So put that on your clock. 11, 11, and 11 in Centennial Memorial Park. Here's that website in case you missed it. This is a guy that most of us know here locally. His name is Ross Winter. Ross has set up an organization called Wounded Warriors Alabama, and the website is woundedwarrioralabama@gmail.com. Phone number is 256-458-2715. 256-458-2715. If you know of a veteran in need of anything, that power's cut off or need a handicap ramp or something, that a veteran's in distress, they don't have to be a wounded warrior. But Ross is well known for throwing in and helping on that. So it's a great organization. They've helped a lot of folks that have referred to them. So keep that handy. That's why I tell you get the pen each week. And the clinic asked me to ask all of you, not just the veterans, but everybody's watching this. This flu season is here, and especially the elderly veterans or veterans like myself or diabetics or whatever. You need to be careful. Washing your hand is the best thing you can do for us to prevent the flu or any kind of viruses out there. And one of the things they tell me to do is and I did this the other day, going into a store, you grab the shopping cart, and the handle is warm, and it's chilly outside a little bit, and the handle's warm. You know somebody just had their hand on that thing. Well, guess where their hand might have been? So that is one of the easiest places. Like doorknobs, all those places are obvious, but think about it when you're going shopping. If you can't do it right then, when you get home, they say, hum a verse of Old MacDonald Had a Farm while you're washing, and then you've washed them enough. But it's serious stuff. When you touch those handles on the shopping buggy, you'll think about what I just told you. Somebody had their nasty old hand on your shopping cart. They have started the Firefighters Memorial up there in the park, so if you see that dirt moving up there, that's what that is. We hope to have that finished by the first of the year. And we'll have the official Firefighters Memorial amongst the rest of them up there. That's for the whole state of Alabama, everybody that gave their life in the line of duty. So that's something we're going to be very proud of. If you got a wheelchair that you don't need, power chair, I don't want the push type, but if you got a power chair that's no longer needed, I need them for veterans that can go up and down the street and go to their mailbox. And so give me a call, I'll take care of that. So we run out of time, but we always do. Get your law enforcement tag when you go to get your tag. Get that. You don't have to be in law enforcement, but it's a great thing to do. And we're going to go this week, and we're going to give our shout out to Enrique Lang and all the folks that's going to make this fair housing thing work here on the 10th of October. This salute's for you, Enrique.